science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.
Evidence is evidence. It's public. Everybody can look at the evidence and assess it, and eventually, if there's enough evidence, come to the same conclusion.
For newcomers and old-timers alike, the Chloe Sanctuary hopes to give you insight into the health and happiness of your companion parrots. We hope to help you build happy homes using reliable and proven tools. The best homes are built on a rock-solid foundation. And the best foundation for a happy home is the bedrock of science. When we stand on the shoulders of giants, the scientists who have worked long and diligently to understand our companions, we can reach new heights of understanding. And understanding is the key to success. What does avian veterinary medicine have to tell us about our feathered friends? How can we prevent illness, see the signs of disease before it's too late, and care for our birds through ill health? What light does behavioral science shed on their nature, needs, and hopes? How can the tools of behavior shaping make our homes happier for us and our companions? How can we deal with biting, screaming, or other misbehavior? What is it like to live among parrots, let them roam around about you and share a life with them? How much freedom do you give them? What happens if you form a bond of trust with them? Watch and see what understanding their true nature can do for you. Come with us on a journey as we do more than examine a parrot's world. We live in it. Make some popcorn and bring in a few wood blocks. Let everyone have something to chew and a comfortable place to perch. Cockatude is a presentation of the Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a nonprofit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.
Hi, and welcome to Cockatude 55. Yes, Coco. Yes, Coco. I know the cameras are out. I put them out. All right, you two. Let's not feed off of each other. Parrots are not made out of porcelain. Oh, Bob, you have a problem going on down here. Here, let me steal one of these. Poor Bob and his prolapse. What's going on? Oh, no. That's not good news, Bob. He's got to go back and get another suture. Oh. Bob, let me look. Yep, you gotta get sewn up again. Darn it. He was fine yesterday. Oh, poor Bob. Poor boy. Parrots are not made out of porcelain. Expect change, even encourage it. I've often said that the worst thing you can say about somebody, the worst thing you can say is, I like them just the way they are. That's a recipe for disaster, because nothing stays the same.
It's 16 hours.
Intellectually, we know that. We know that everything changes. You know, and the time will pass and everything will change. We know it intellectually, but we don't feel it in our heart. We want to make things into this solid that will never break. And that's the way it is with these parrots as well. I recently had somebody who wanted to adopt one of our birds, which we had such trouble with adoption, we stopped doing it. It just didn't work out, and we just decided to keep the birds that were the most damaged and give them a home. But what they said was, well, this is such a sweet bird, you know, because they had met her, and well, it's such a sweet bird, we'd really like to have her, and we have a relationship with her. Well, you know, first of all, there is no such thing as a sweet bird. There are birds, okay? But Sweets is a label. When you label something as sweet, as soon as it does something that isn't sweet, for example, if you say this is sweet tea and you take a sip and it's bitter, well then it's not good for you anymore, right? So that bird they were talking about is Lucy. And when she came here, she was, pretty quiet, friendly, that kind of thing. Social, wanting attention. And then she kind of stepped back. Now she's checking it all out. And in time she's going to change. Now a good example would be of another bird that was like that. There's two actually. Simone came here, she was like that. Quiet and always wanting to be kind of hiding in the background. Well, she's with Regina and she's all the way across the country. And we have a video about why that happened. But when she left, she was nothing like that. She was wanting to get into everybody's face, not in a bad way, but she was just right there, always on stage, always wanting attention, okay? That may be how she turns out. We don't know. We don't know what it's going to be like when she's given that opportunity. It is ignorance of Bob's nature that turned Babaloo into a living gargoyle. Bob's would-be parents made a hasty choice and found themselves in living hell, torn between guilt and frustration. I have seen the joy in Babaloo's eyes now that he has a new life with me as his companion. To see Babaloo love and trust again is worth the effort of a lifetime. But, once again, Bob is heading toward the pain of separation. My heart nearly broke the day I discovered that he was heading toward a cloacal prolapse, that his life will be cut short. To find love and acceptance and then have it stolen away from you by failing health is too much to bear. We can slow the progress of his failing health, but we can't stop it. He will need several surgeries, and eventually, Babaloo will die. We want to give him the best possible life until that day. His surgeries will become progressively more expensive over time. Won't you please lend Babaloo a hand and donate to his medical fund today? Our donation button is on our webpage at www.chloesanctuary.org. Just be sure to say, "For Bob," in the notes when you donate. Coco came here. She was a quiet, retiring little girl. Of course, she liked to squawk and she liked to get tossed, but as far as dealing with other birds, she didn't want anything to do with other birds. Now she's got friends. She preens with other birds. She lets you know what she likes and what she doesn't like. She's better, as you can see now with the video cams. She will probably start yelling at them again, but she's getting over the fact that this room can be loaded with cams and there's things going on. But every bird that came here has changed. And the worst thing you can do is say, "Oh, look at that bird. Oh, I like it just the way it is." Because it's not going to stay that way. You haven't stayed that way. You look in the mirror and say, "That's me." But, when you were a year old, was that you? Not really. That wasn't really you. Certainly not the way you are. And maybe where you come from, but it's not where you are today. And all these guys are in flux like we are. They have really immense personalities. They're not made of porcelain. They're not cast. Their behaviors change. Their personalities tweak one way or another. Now, an example of a personality that went the wrong way, he's not in here right now because he's started to get way too rough with females, and I basically separate him and the other males out normally. Bob's in here. There are males in here, but we usually have males at one time and females at another. But Snowball, he got that thing that does happen in captivity. Doesn't seem to happen in the wild. We have no evidence of it. No biologist has ever seen it. Where they get aggressive with mates. And with a male, once they get aggressive with a female, they'll tend to get aggressive with all of them. And he got a little overboard with Lorelei. It was okay because I was right there to pull him apart, but it was obvious to me that he had a serious level on his mind. He was going to try to hurt her. It was just a matter of probably a couple of minutes away, which is why they're always under supervision. And even when I come into this room and when I leave this room, I have a certain order that I take them in, and I know what their personalities are doing at a certain day. Like today, I knew that Salamander's kind of quiet. I figured he'd be playing with his toys over there, and he wouldn't be screaming like he was the last times to get attention. I knew that Lorelei and Coco were really kind of getting into things and bugging me, so I figured that what they would do is just the opposite in here. Because they tend to work that way. Right, Lucy? This one wouldn't let me put on a shirt. I was trying to change shirts and she kept flying up on my shoulder, and she knew what she was doing. She wasn't, come on up, Sal. Well, come on. Put your foot up here. She knew what she was doing in that she knew I was trying to do something, and it was her intent to stop me. Now, I can't read her mind, but from all the behavior I saw, I'd say that's where it's going. She loves to play games, and that's one of her games is stop Don from doing what he wants to do. So, and bear with me, I'm just getting over a cold, and then I've been a little bit pressed for working because I got a hernia. Doing sit-ups, I mean, I wasn't even doing anything with any weight. We're talking about just basic sit-ups, and I got a hernia from that. So that slowed me down some. Not that I don't get everything done. I do, but it just slows me down some. So I'm a little late getting this recording done, in fact. But, so these birds are going to change. Now, when he came here, he was a little, he was a cruise missile, as one of our videos talks about. He was with somebody that he had become mated to, and he was not going to let her have relationships with other people, with anyone. And all that's changed now. He's trying to have a relationship with me, as you can see. He thinks that, I don't know what he thinks, but it seems to me that whenever the cameras are out, he knows I'm distracted. That may be a good guess, but he certainly sees the opportunity to try to mate with me, and he'll do that. He won't do it, but he will try to do it. And then eventually he'll realize it won't happen and he'll wander off and play. Right, big boy? Yeah. But so he was aggressive when he came here. And that went away. Basically, because as I said, they're not made of porcelain, and you want to expect change and encourage it. So in this case, what I did was I encouraged him not to play some of the games he usually plays. He plays dead, and he does sit-ups. He only gets to do those once a week, just to keep the behaviors in the background. I won't, so he learns something, I don't want him to unlearn it. But at the same point, he gets too excited. The same thing with Snowball. He's allowed to play twice a month. He's allowed to play Frisbee. No more. He gets too wound up, and then he gets too aggressive with the other birds. So he can play Frisbee at the end of the day with me twice a month. That keeps him active and interested. And instead, I focus him on other things that he can do, like playing with playing with Cecil. He does that. Like playing with toys alongside me. And just encourage him to play. Hey, get out of there! No. You can't sit on the chair. Come here. Come on. No sitting on the chair. We have a new cameraman. I should say camera lady. What are you? Camera bird? Yeah, she was going to sit right over there and maybe play with the camera. So I haven't introduced everybody today. This is Pippa. We got Babaloo down here. Pippa is a Triton, sulfur crested, and so is Bob. And then we have Salamander. He gets called a lot of things, don't you? Yeah. Mander the salamander. Peaches. He's a Moluccan. That's what they call them in the United States. They're actually a Seram cockatoo. They're found on the Isle of Seram in Indonesia. Another one is Peaches. Although you're pretty famous. I don't even know why I bothered talking about you. You're so cute, Peaches. and so quiet when we do videos, except for the last one we did. This is Lucy. She's an umbrella cockatoo from Indonesia. Well, her ancestors hail from there anyway. She has feather destructive behavior, but it's coming under control. She'll never have the feathers on the front of her, though. That chest section has been worked. They work out, and out, and if you let it go too long, the feathers won't come back. The follicles become damaged. I have Coco up there. Right, Coco? Say hi, Coco. And over there we have Lorelei. Lorelei, baby girl. And Sugarbird. Out of the room today, we have Cecil, who is fun to be around, except when the cameras are up. And Roman, who still doesn't like to come out of his cage right now. And who else is out there? Well, we got Kaz, who is aggressive. She doesn't really try to hurt anybody. She gets aggressive with other birds in that she flies into them. And I'm afraid she's going to get hurt. It's not so much that she's going to hurt anyone. And Chloe, who just won't leave Pippa alone. So Chloe and Pippa are never out at the same time. Right, Pippa? Okay, guys, what is this? I'm being double teamed by the newbies. So the behavior you see when you get a bird, like we got a list with Pippa of her behaviors, the things she does, some of which I've seen. She's not fond of women, or at least she attacks them, and she's done that twice now. In no case did she actually hurt anyone. And because a bird has a behavior, it doesn't mean that it's going to be static. Again, they're not porcelain. Those behaviors can change, and I'm sure she'll be fine with women in time, won't you? Even with the lead poisoning, you got food on your face, kid. There's a song like that. You got food on your face, you big disgrace. So now here's one that is pretty active. She doesn't like to be in a cage. You go to put her in a cage, she'll do everything she can not to go in there. She's not in a cage that much. She gets to come out and play 3 hours a day. It'd be nice, of course I'd prefer the whole day, but she gets at least 3 hours a day. And she gets some varying. She gets to go on a few trips. She's been to some other places so far. And, but the behavior you see right now is not the behavior you'll see in 2 months. One of the things we do with these birds is operant conditioning. Fancy name. What's an operant? Someone who acts, does things, okay? In other words, an operator. Like the old operators on the phone, or somebody who operates a machine. They're a doer, okay? And operant conditioning means to condition them to do things, to make choices, okay? Operant conditioning is basically teaching them to make good choices, giving them, an A and B choice or an ABC choice, and encouraging them to go with the choice that's best for them in this world they're living in. And that way they start making good choices on their own. If you chase them around and tell them what not to do, you're going to be doing that all the time. You've seen parents who raise their kids that way. Don't do this. In fact, in my family, my Uncle Ted had they were heavy into the no spanking the child and not disciplining their child. So his name was Ricky No-No. That's all I really remember about that child, is that they were always telling him, no, don't do this. Ricky, no. So, but if you teach them instead to make the good choice, then you rarely have to do anything except to help them find another good choice if something comes along. If you have one like this guy who started these really horrible sounds recently that he picked up from another bird here, that he picked up from Sugar. She does it quietly, he does it very loudly. Not so bad when Sugar whines, terrible when he screams a whine. But I've worked with him, and now it's rare that he does it. He doesn't get in, I ignore him when he does it, but that's not the key. The key is the second he makes a sound you do like, you have to encourage him and praise him, give him rewards, right? So then he sees no point in making the other sound. So you got to look at it as you have a bird. Okay, here's an example. Here's Pippa. We have a bird here. And this bird, as you see it right now, all chewed up, and is going to change. Some of the changes are going to be good. Some, I saw that, Lorelei. You're not going to go get on the camera stand. Thank you. Some of the changes are going to be good, and some of the changes not so good. And what you have to do is steer them into the right changes.
Peaches is an amazing personality. Her daily maintenance requires dedication and mindfulness. She requires 2 forms of medicine, 7-course meals, and effort to entice her to eat. Extensive preening every day, special tools to trim nails, constant attention to her vocalizations, daily walks, and twice yearly checkups due to the possibility of impacted feather follicles and the nature of her spinal injuries. It seems a common misconception among the general public that parrots are like toys in a toy box. Nothing could be further from the truth. They are complex creatures. Recently, scientific studies have shown them to be at least as intelligent as chimpanzees. Every captive parrot needs special humans who will dedicate themselves to understanding them, those who know their species as it lives in the wild, special people that understand their social, mental, and physical needs. They need to be understood for what they are, and not as merely human companions, as circus performers to bring smiles. Peaches needs all this and more. She is our special girl. Will you help us care for Peaches? Please make a donation today at our website, chloesanctuary.org. That's spelled CHLOESANCTUARY.org. As a special thank you for your donation, we will joyfully send you a postcard with Peach's happy face.
Okay. So right now, her not wanting to go into the cage, she has to be rewarded with something she likes. So she likes apples, she likes cashews, and I haven't decided, we haven't had her long enough to decide what her training treat's going to be. But eventually what's going to happen is when she wants to get in her cage, she's going to be given a treat at the door, a treat inside the door, and then when she's in there and calm, she'll get a few of them. So in other words, you're going to reward, and then flood with reward. And then getting in the cage won't be as big a deal, because she knows she's going to get rewarded. And then if you can do it where you can put her in the cage for a short time, say a couple of minutes, and then get her right back out and repeat the process a few times, after a while going in and out of the cage won't be an issue. She'll go in and she won't expect to be there that long, and you can stretch it out over time so that eventually you can have her in there for 10 or 15 minutes and it's not a problem. And then if you start doing that just before she goes to sleep at night, so it's a regular thing that's done, you can work it into a routine. And after a while, going in her cage won't be a problem. It's a place to get treats. So even if you had a bird that did everything right, that didn't have any misbehaviors you didn't like, you don't want to say to yourself that, oh, I like you just the way you are. You want to be constantly trying to find new behaviors that are positive that they can do so that they have more to choose from. Because like us, they get bored. And if they only do the same things over and over again, it's going to get worse. And eventually they're going to break out of that boredom. And they're going to do that by trying new things. And some of those new things you may like and some you may not. So then you have to steer them. But let's talk about some of these birds that came with different behaviors. Now this one, Babaloo. When I first met him, he was living outside in an animal hospital, and they brought him in at night, and they left him out there, and they would go and grab a dog and walk a dog in front of his cage constantly. So he saw people walking by who didn't talk to him all day long. And then they took him out to clean his cage, and when they went to put him back, he would start threatening with his beak, because he learned that if he did that, that would stop them from putting him in the cage. So his behaviors when I got him were threatening if you tried to do something with him that he didn't want to do. And his natural tendency was to open his beak and threaten in order to stop you. That was his stop it behavior. So what I did was I observed and found out what he wanted and found a way to get him the items that were okay. If it was something that he could have that was no problem for me to deliver, such as he wanted a treat or something like that, then I would give it to him. If it was the fact he didn't like me walking by him, he didn't, because people walk by him all day, right? So I would stop and talk to him, and then walk by, and then come by and stop and talk to him, and then walk by. And it seems like a lot of work, but now, as you can see, he's not a problem. He sits next to me, and this behavior, by the way, is not the way it will always be. He's not made of porcelain, so he's going to change his behaviors. So he went from what everyone envisioned as an aggressive bird, and a bird that used, open beak, lunging to get what he wanted, to a bird who he more or less cajoles me into what he wants. He will sometimes threaten other birds, but he doesn't threaten me anymore because it doesn't get him anything. So, but that behavior could change. And as long as you're aware of that and you're not expecting the same behavior all the time, you'll be doing okay. Now this one, just recently in this latest mating cycle, she got into a bad habit. Along with Bob, she would come up to him and she would present her tail end and he started preening her there. That's not acceptable. So I started breaking her out and taking her out with females only. That's one of the reasons I decided to do the female only thing. That way she wouldn't get that kind of behavior anymore. She was coming over and constantly asking for that kind of behavior. Just like the way she's pointing her tail now is not a good thing. So I'll redirect her just a little bit with my hand here, holding her so she can't turn herself that way, and by playing with her face, which she likes to have done. Right, girl? That's a new behavior. She didn't do it before, so I had to start working with it. And this one, recently, the new behavior was when I start the video, get ready to do an episode, he would get up there and just blare the whole time. If I tried to speak, he'd just start screaming. And now, as you can see, the current behavior is he wants to come over and get involved here. And rather than screaming, he much prefers to be over here and get some attention. Now, if Snowball was here, he's nervous about Snowball because Snowball tends to push him around too. So he wouldn't be sitting on my leg probably with that. He's much more comfortable when Snowball's not here. And just like this one and this one are, Lucy and Pip are much more comfortable when Chloe's not around. But because Chloe was in a mated relationship, she developed the typical hen behavior, just push everyone out of your nesting area. She's not trying to get rid of them or hurt them, she just wants them out of her nesting area. Unfortunately, most homes are about the size of a nesting area. So, can I preen your head there, kid? You're letting me do this, and I feel some things that need to be preened. Salamander doesn't get anyone else to preen him. I do all the preening. He just doesn't feel comfortable having birds do it. Lorelei would, but... So, I have to preen his head. Hi, Coco. I know, little girl. Now, Lorelei, and I've used this example before, but it's a good one, and since you've heard it before, maybe it'll help it stick. But she thought there was a hawk. There was a hawk at the window, and I didn't know it. I'm heading out to go to a job. I used to do computer work out in the field a lot. So I'm going out to go do a job, and she's flying away from the cage when I'm trying to put her in it. So I tried to stop her. And then she didn't want to have anything to do with my hands. It's kind of like Roman when I had to tell him to give him medicine. He doesn't want to have anything to do with my hands. So I worked. It took almost 6 months. Okay? If I came at her with my hands, she would fly away. Now I'll run up to her with my hands like this, making a face, and she just looks at me. Because I started doing that, walking up like this and then petting her. Slowly worked from just coming closely, putting my hands, showing her it was no danger, to where I could just run up and put my hands on her and make like monster faces and stuff. Well, yeah, sometimes this can backfire a little bit. Now, I am like a piece of steel and she's a magnet. What are you guys doing up there? Pippa, what are you doing? What's going on, Pip? So I'll walk into a room and wham, she'll just slam onto my shoulder. Hey, let's not get aggressive, Lucy. Come here. Come on. Lucy doesn't really like you sitting next to her. Why don't you come? You can sit back over here. Yeah, you can sit up there. Whoa, I'm sorry. You got a hold of my thumb. Yeah. Yeah. So now the behavior is when I walk into a room, she slams into me. And it's tweaking a little bit more towards where she wants to find something that I don't want her to do and do it. For example, if I have a Bluetooth earpiece in, she's going to focus on that. And she'll come over and get on my shoulder and on the side away from it and then sneak over to the other side. It's almost like she's planning her attack. Which I don't know if you could call it attack, but planning the prank she's gonna pull. Because generally she'll give me the thing back. I haven't lost one yet because of it. Pippa, what are you doing? You don't have to hide over there, Pippa. You don't have to hide, Pippa. You're welcome over here. That's a good girl. That's a good Pippa. That's a good Pippa. Yeah. Now, when Sugar came here, and I talk about change in personality, she was nervous and just chewing on herself all the time. Oh, I'm sorry, you want me to pet you? Okay. She was nervous and chewing on herself all the time, and I had to put collars on her because she was, cutting her own skin, a mutilator, so she couldn't tolerate the collars. She would get on the floor and push, like she was trying to push the collar off, and then she would make these little screaming sounds, similar to what he makes, not quite as loud. And that went on for far too long. And I put her on the medicine, but she required more of it than even the book says to give. So, but what she is now is she's highly alert when she wants to be, which is almost never when the cameras are out. You put the cameras are out and she's like, Durr. You remember the cartoon frog the guy finds that sings? Oh, come on, my darling, come on, my baby, that kind of thing. And as soon as he puts it on stage, it sits up there and goes, ribbit, ribbit. Well, that's her. Somebody else comes in here, and she's all fluffed up and put the cameras up, and ribbit, ribbit. But she's active. She likes to play. She plays with toys. She's never been one to sit in your lap. I think she's wild caught because she's not too fond of sitting in your lap for more than 10 minutes. She'll do it about 10 minutes with me, then she wants to go into her cage. Oh, you know I'm talking about you, don't you? Don't you, Sugar? No, Bob. No, leave the camera alone. No, Bob. Babaloo, come here. Bob, come here. Babaloo, come here. Come on. Come on, Bob. Come on. Come on. Babaloo, come on. Come on. I can't lean too much farther forward. Come on. Come on. Give me the beak. There you go. Good boy, Bob. Good boy. Good boy. That's my bird. That's my big boy. What a good boy. Got to flood him with rewards. He really likes to be petted. That's his number one reward, isn't it, Bob? Isn't it? So she went from being nervous and just chewing on herself all the time to now where she's active and interested. And aren't you? Yeah? Flash that tail at me. Flash that tail. Oh, what a good girl. Well, what a good girl. I wish you'd come. Hey, you're getting a little too friendly. I wish you'd come down here and see me. I do. And I've also seen she's now starting to get a little bit pushy about wanting me to pet her beak, which is her favorite thing. Pet my beak, pet my beak. She's getting pushy about it, where she used to be quiet and retiring. Now she's kind of like coming down, climbing down to the bottom of the perch down there and asking me, that's enough. That's enough of that behavior. No, stop that. You've had enough of that behavior. Yeah, it's enough of that behavior. You're a good boy. You're a good boy, but I mean, there's certain things we can't do. They're illegal. Well, this is not a bordello. Okay, if you say so. Now, Peaches, when she came here, she had been at a place where they were... Did you just poop on me? You did. Okay. You got it. He's not real good with his bowels, and he has a twisted pelvis, so he tends to do that. But when Peaches came here, the lady who had her was chasing her around to try to give her medicine. She wouldn't take it. She was pretty bad about picking her feathers in her chest. And she nipped a lot, bit a lot. Well, once we understood her handicap, or the 6 fused vertebrae in her neck, are the major handicap she has.
1630.
Are the major handicap that she has. She can't. No, now stop that. No, we're not doing that. That makes it so that she can't move around very much. And she gets into pain sometimes. So she has to have pain medicine. Not all the time, but if she starts looking like this, she's going to get it. So she's going to get pain medicine later when I get out of here. But understanding that her behavior was due to physical pain and restrictions on how she could move her neck made a lot of difference. So started providing other things for her, which is what you need to do to help them change. So I started setting up cages so she could climb on these small cages and dance up and down on the side. She does okay if she can do this. She can display better if she's on the side of a cage. So it was working out different ways for her to display and to play. She doesn't move around much, which is why she has that kind of squat look to her. She's got a lot of girth up here, but she doesn't have the strength that other birds have from moving around a lot. But her behavior's changed too. She was pretty quiet when she first came here. Although she nipped and because of the pain she had, and she chewed her feathers. Now she's pretty demanding. Not in a bad way though. If the phone rings and somebody's on the phone, she wants to talk, so she'll start saying hello. And if she knows the person, she hears their voice on speaker, and she'll definitely want to talk to them. She looks over at the phone like looking for their face, and you can see disappointment in her eyes if she can't see the person on the phone. At least it looks like disappointment to me, because she's looking at the phone and like this, like, where is it? Where is it? In that case, if there's no FaceTime to the phone, if there's no visual, then she'll head over to play in a box and then just talk while she's playing to the person on the phone. She used to eat a lot of blueberries. Now she likes the raspberries, I think, a little better than blueberries. She has changed a lot of the foods that she likes. She used to eat a lot of edamame, and now it seems like she's eating more of the mash and some of the other foods, but that's going to change all the time. So another thing about these guys is that you got to watch what they're eating, because they will change their preferences on food, and if you're not careful, you may be giving them things they don't want to eat. Also, they may be eating things that aren't going to be nutritionally good for them, so they're going to pick out the items that that are tasty and not necessarily the ones that are good. So these guys get pellets, and they get the mash which has the pellets in them. So as long as they're eating that, I feel okay. If I see them eating the Rowdy Bush pellets, some of them get Harrison's because that's what they were eating before they came here. Some get some Supreme because that's what they were eating before. So each one has a mixed bucket of things that they get. That has some of the favorites. Pine nuts are amazingly good for these birds, so which is surprising. So Coco, Pippa, and Lucy are the 3 big pine nut eaters. Although there are other birds, Sal eats them, but he's not. He doesn't go crazy about it. Come here. No. Come here, Pippa. No, don't go over there. Come on, Pippa. I don't want you over there by the air conditioner. Come on, Pippa. Come on, over here. Come on. I just got a toe. Come on, Pippa. No, I don't want you over there. Come on, Pippa. Pippa, come on. That's a girl. Oh, what a good girl you are, Pippa. What a good girl you are, Pippa. Oh, Bob. So, they're not static. They're constantly changing. And you're going to want to, you need to go to the bathroom? Go ahead. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. So you want to be aware that they're going to change. You want to think about where you can take them, what choices you can help them make. And salamander, no. Salamander, Sal, no. Sal, no. Salamander, no. He likes those, so I toss them to him and he'll play with them, tear them up. Nice. He understands when I say no that I don't want him to do something, so I have to offer him something else to do. By itself, no doesn't work. With him, in most cases, it's better to offer them something else, an alternative to the behavior they're doing. So I throw him a birdie bagel, and he plays with it, which is what he's doing now. So as long as you don't see them as static and you realize that you're going to be working with changing behavior all the time, it may come quickly, it may come slowly, then you won't be disappointed when the bird that you originally had, which was, you were happy to have it just the way it was, just the way this bird is, I'm happy with it. So as long as you're not in that frame of mind where you don't want to see change, you can mold and twist and turn and help their behavior become something you can deal with. Right? What do you say, Pippa? What do you say? I can say that. Not as cute as you. What are you doing over there, Sal? Salamander. Mander. Do I have a big piece of wood? Here's a piece of wood. Mander. There you go. Don't start chewing on the drapes, okay? You already chewed up a big section of it. No more chewing. Mander, no. You're gonna have to behave, big boy, or I'm gonna toss something at you again. Silly bird. You're a silly bird. Mander, get out of there. Now, talking about the different birds and the changes, when Chloe came to me, she was outgoing, but gentle and peaceful, the way you'd look at it. She was easy to place somewhere and very interested in what I'm doing. Now, after having been with Snowball for 5 years and having been a hen, which is something you don't want to have happen if you can avoid it. I couldn't in this case, but Now she's more or less disinterested in everything, except the way a hen would normally be interested. How does it affect my nesting area? Even though she's no longer with Snowball, she's highly protected. Hey, get out of there, Mander! She's highly protective of the nesting area. She will talk to me, but she's obviously more interested in the birds around her than she is me. So she went from being totally focused on me and almost a one-person type of bird, although she wasn't aggressive to others, to being a bird that is only focused on the other birds in the room and trying to make a nest. Okay? And she's coming out of that to some degree. I've been working with her. She's getting along better with the other birds. But there are some birds that Bob, don't chew on. See, this is a behavior too. He's nipping. No, he doesn't nip. He's gently pulling the hairs on my arm, which is irritating when you're trying to do a video. This is a new behavior for him that he just picked up recently. And again, it's not a terrible behavior. It's just the irritating behavior when you're trying to do one thing and he's doing that. Right, Bob? So we're looking at almost opposite ends of the spectrum. Here's a bird who was friendly and outgoing and devoted, and now she's focused on nesting, and where she was focused on people, she's now focused on other birds. So it's quite different. Slowly moving her to where she's having more fun with people, and it's going to take some time. And it's not an easy thing to do, because once they start nesting, they want to stay in that married kind of relationship. That's where they want to be. But it doesn't mean they're not static there. They can learn to be more involved, and that's what I'm working with her. Now Snowball's aggressive, so I'm her former mate, so I'm working with his aggression to turn it into more of a playful thing without, hey, no. Quite a threat, a card. I wasn't trying to threaten him, I was just going to throw a card down there to give him something to play with. But he took it as a threat and ran away. I got more of these, and I'll use them. It's a 4 of clubs. Yeah, you don't want that. No, you don't. Oh, pat me, pat me. I know, go. Pat me, pat me. So, he's not going to stay aggressive. He's going to have, at least not the same way. You can channel some of that aggression to other things. Obviously, having him play with frisbees isn't the best thing. That seems to hype him up. But getting him to play with other things. He picks up one of the things I can do is I toss him one of these birdie bagels, these round pieces of pressed wood. If you throw him one of those, he will take it and bang it rhythmically against a perch. He likes to do that, so he'll make that sound. It'll just bang, 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 bang. That's what he'll do with the thing, and that's good. He also plays with Cecil, so I encourage that. They can even sometimes play with the same toy at the same time, which, considering Cecil, that's hard to believe. Cecil's pretty aggressive with toys. You gonna fall? What are you doing? What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing, baby? Huh? And when Cause, she's not in the room because she tends to fly into the other birds in the room, male or female. She doesn't really give quarter. She'll just fly into everybody. So she comes out on her own. She's with me while I'm cleaning and, when I'm doing things like doing some of my computer work, she's with me. But she was the outgoing one in the beginning. Now she's more reclusive. So again, I'm trying to make her more outgoing without being, hey, you're not going to eat that. You got a card. I had your card. And if you saw our earlier episodes, you saw that he tended to play, well, you didn't see him. Most of the time he was playing over in this area where there wasn't any camera. And, no, get out of there. Come on. No, not over there. Come here. Come on. I don't want you over there. That's not a good place to be, Pippa. It's not. I don't want you eating the air conditioner. Okay? Mander, I'm gonna throw it. Silly bird. Tossing wood at a bird. And he just chews it up. So he used to sit over there, and he'd play over there, and he'd come over and look at us and talk to us a little bit, sit in my lap for a while, and then go back and play over there. Now he tends to get on the floor and try to get in things over there, over where the computer area is, and I have to watch him. He likes to eat the drapes, and he's also getting into the computer area. I'll let him do a little bit of it, because it's not a big deal. It's just when he starts to get into something like chewing on the drapes, or if he gets behind the computer chair in that area where the cords are, then I will put a stop to it. Right now I'm just diverting his attention. But again, that's a behavior change. He didn't used to do it before. The same thing happens too with screaming and biting and those kind of behaviors. They come out in certain circumstances. Sometimes we don't realize it, but we encourage those behaviors because we don't really understand what it is to be a bird. So we don't understand it. We end up encouraging encouraging a behavior that we don't want. And before long, we have a bird that's screaming all the time. Bob was a screamer. He still does it once in a while. What? He was a biter, and you know that's all. That's gone. He's not a biter anymore, are you? Although he'll threaten other people than me. Get out of there. Say the 4 clubs. Mander, get away from there. So, because they're not made out of porcelain, you have to assume that there are going to be changes. Let's see, this would be a good one. I'll toss this if you're not careful. You have to assume that there are going to be changes, and you have to start looking for them. Keep an eye on them. Right now, for example, I believe that Salamander wants my attention. I don't know that, but it looks like he's craving socialization. So when I take my attention off of him, he does something I don't want him to do. Like try to eat the drapes or go a place I prefer he doesn't go. So I think since he obviously wanted to mate with me earlier and I didn't let him, he's now trying to get some attention. You know, negative attention is better than no attention, right? So I'll play along for a while. If it gets to be too much, then I would just pick him up and put him in a play area. And generally he gets to have a movie, and if there's a movie on, he'll go watch the movie anyway. He likes movies. He's our movie critic, so you're always going to want to be looking to see what behaviors are there and how they're changing. And then if you see a particular behavior that you think, oh, that's cute, but analyze it. Is it really cute? Or if it gets to be more prominent, are you going to like it? For example, with Bob pulling the hairs on my arm, at first that seems cute. But if you know that in time it's going to be a constant thing, he's going to, if he gets attention deprived, he's going to be yanking the hairs on my arm all the time. That's not something you want. So at that point you find a way to divert it. Right now that diversion is about 12 feet of wood a week. I'm not kidding. That's about how many pieces of wood he'll go through while he's sitting here. And if he runs out of the wood, he'll... Salamander. If he runs out of the wood, he's going to start pulling the hairs on my arm. So, catch it early. Find a diversion, something else they could do. Mander. Yeah, just strut. I know, just strut. Yeah, the world has changed, and there isn't anything in it that doesn't change. The minute you get something, it's starting to fall apart. So unless you keep that in mind with your parrot, and you've got an intelligent animal like this, and it starts to have, and it starts to change, and those changes may not be exactly what you're looking for, you don't catch it early enough, you're going to have a problem. As long as you realize that you can't hold on to anything in your life, and that behavior, as well as everything else, is going to change, it's easier to deal with it. You're not expecting your bird to be, well, they were always fine when I left them in the kitchen for a couple of minutes before. Why is it a problem now? If you know how to deal with it, and you're using some of the techniques of training that we have in some of our videos, then you're not going to have a problem when you suddenly have a bird that decides when you leave the kitchen, it's time to go investigate what's on the counter. And also keep in mind that stove. You don't ever want to have them in a room where you have a hot stove. I have some birds that are trained to stay away from the stove, but that's neither here nor there. You want to make sure that you have a situation where it's not going to, where they're not going to get hurt. So, and by sure I mean don't have any hot burners on when they're in the room, right? Okay, so you see Pippa now, and you see the way she is. Well, I wonder how she'll be in 6 months. I have no idea, but one thing I know for sure, she won't be a porcelain bird, and she'll be different, won't you, Pippa? Can you say goodbye to the folks? Can you say goodbye, folks? We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. And catch our new audio podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. It's under Cockatude, and it should be available by the time this is put out. It better be. I know it's on Stitcher. iTunes is, they're reviewing it, so it should be available by the time you get this. If you enjoy our video podcasts, we're going to be putting them out so you can listen to them on audio as well. So the audios will have the sections that's just me going, oh, what a pretty bird. That will be taken out. And most of the squawking will be taken out, not all. Everybody needs to know that they squawk, right? And Salamander, you're going to say goodbye to the people? I don't think you are. No. Say goodbye, Pippa. See you next time. We welcome your feedback on our videos. We look forward to your insights, tips, questions, stories, and pictures. You can email us at cockatude@chloesanctuary.org, reach us on Twitter @ChloeSanctuary, and join with us on our Facebook Chloe Sanctuary page.
Science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.